Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hey, you Potter Than Hellions out there. Welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. We have a special episode coming up for you guys today. But let me give you our crew here today. I'm here joined as usual by
BC
and
BB.
Dylan on the keyboards.
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, there you go. And we have three actually special co-hosts this evening. We are joined by our old faithful friend, Sonny Pooni.
What's up, guys?
Good.
And we are also joined from the West Coast from Ken Keenan. How are you, Ken?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are great. We are great. And we have our returning guest host here, my KISS buddy, Rob Kelleher.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And if you didn't guess by now, this is going to be a KISS episode, and we are going to talk about the Gene Simmons vault experience that Rob and myself did this past Sunday, which would have been February 18th, down in Philadelphia at the Trocadero. It was amazing. It was just amazing, and we were talking about it, on the way down and on the way home, and, my wife's probably sick of fucking hearing about it already. It's aptly named experience because it is.
It is an experience. It was above and beyond an experience.
Absolutely. Ken and Sonny, you guys were at the very first vault. Why don't you guys take your pick who goes first here? Give us a little insight into the very first one. You guys hit, I think, the mother lode of all vault experiences so far that we've had. And believe me, and I'm not taking anything away from ours because ours was absolutely amazing. But tell us about your guys. Ken, why don't you go first since you had a little issue?
So, yeah, I met Sonny down there briefly, down there while we were doing that experience. But it was fantastic. I mean, we were there pretty early in line and got in there. And then just being in the Capitol Records studios was, mind-blowing in itself, based on all the artists that had recorded there, Beach Boys and so on. But we got in there and we heard the news before going in that Ace was going to probably show up, and then Eric also and Bruce Kulick. So I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be, turn out to be pretty cool.
Yeah, your mind's blowing already before you even walk through the door.
Oh yeah, it made the excitement even, it rose it up another level or two. So we got in there and the tables were there and they were, I'll just go through it quick, but, there's some Chotskys on tables that I should have grabbed one, but I didn't. It was cool. This little stage in there in the studio, and then in the control room where, the mixing board is, that's where, I met Gene, and fortunately, Julian Gill, who was right in front of me, left his camera rolling in there for me, and I was able to get a video of the meet and greet with Gene. So I have that still.
That's awesome.
Which is cool to have a live video of it. And then, I was in there for about 8 minutes talking to Gene about this or that and having him sign my stuff. Just for people out there who haven't gone yet, make sure you know what you want signed and where and what color marker. Make sure the color markers, right? Because I have a couple things that were darker, photos that he signed blue and it's like, that just didn't, it doesn't, really show. You have to really look at it at an angle to see the signature. But fortunately, my Gene Simmons picture disc, he signed with silver, and that looks really great and have it framed. Otherwise, it was really great. I could have picked up on there until I told them, I picked up a vault there until I told them that, mine is being shipped, going to be shipped. And they go, oh, okay. So they didn't lose the extra vault, based on my honesty. But, I ran through, they were supposed to ship out the vaults early January was the initial thing, and I kept. So a week after my Vault experience, I asked them, okay, where is it? And, oh, they're going to be shipping next week, which is American. And then so I wait till next week. No, they're going to ship next week, and there's a problem with logistics or something. And then again, the following week is like, no, they're going to be next week. And they said, oh, it's sure going to go out. And no, time comes around. So I'm just hammering on them with emails like almost every day. It's like, what's going on?
Get this guy's vault so he leaves us alone.
I got on, Keith, I was like, he was probably tired of me too. But I just wanted my vault,
You paid for it.
I paid a lot of money.
Yep.
So finally, it did arrive almost a month after the Vault experience, just a little bit less. And but I'm just blown away by it, really. The music, the book, my special item that I got in it was very cool. So it was all worth it to me. The experience was just fantastic with the live performance by Gene and Ace and Eric and Bruce Kulick. It was just cool, just very cool, and I recommend it to anyone who's on the fence about it.
What was the date you guys went? It was in beginning of
6th,
January, right? January 6th. Okay.
January 6th. Yeah.
That day I was busy that day, and I remember I just kept on checking in, and you guys were sending pictures and posts and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh man, that's just got unbelievable. Sonny, what do you got first?
It's amazing how two people are at the same place, they experience kind of the same thing, but they have a different story, right? So I had no idea who was going to be there because I'm not in the know like the Ken and the Julians of the world are. So when Keith was on stage and told us at around 1:20, 1:30 who was coming, I'm like, holy cow. Like, I had no idea until that happened. Oh,
really?
Yeah, no clue. And half the time I don't listen, so that's probably part of the problem. I was thinking about getting my vault shipped, but we had the opportunity to talk to Keith Valcourt on Podcast Rock City beforehand, and he had told me off air that everything was getting shipped after the experience, but I wanted my vault signed. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just deal with however I'm going to ship it, take it home or whatever.
Right.
And I had to get it back to Wisconsin, right? So at that point, I think I got lucky that I chose the other decision. That's for sure. Met a bunch of people, including Ken. Ken and I didn't know each other, but I think we went to rival high schools in the same area of the country.
Crazy.
I think so.
Yeah, we were probably at the same concerts over a 20-year span and never knew each other, which is crazy that you meet people that way. I had about 5 to 6 minutes with Gene. I was nervous as hell. I saw, Steve, what you had written by Gene, and I think people are doing a great job of like using lyrics and using sayings that Gene has. I didn't think of any of that, so he just wrote "You Rock" on it, to Sonny "You Rock," and then signed his name because I didn't think about all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that was one advantage that we had over the people that did the first Vault experience. That you kind of see how they went, and then people were getting different stuff, and we were talking about it here. And actually, Dylan is the one that came up with what I had put on mine, and it was. I said that's really cool. I said if I think of something better, I'll put that on there. But nothing better came up. And when we get into ours, I'll talk more about that.
Yeah, and the only thing I did on purpose. Like I just kind of let everything happen all the way kind of up to the experience. And the couple of things I did on purpose. One is I knew I wanted Gene to do a bumper. I knew what I wanted Gene to sign. I knew what I wanted to say to Gene. I had all that figured out. Otherwise, I was going to be a blubbering idiot. And then the other part was I could have went to any vault in the country at any time during the year. But I picked the first one because I just had a feeling it'd be in LA. You never know what's going to happen. And I wanted to do some Facebook Live and just get people excited about it because I got to experience something that they hadn't experienced yet. Those are the only two things I did on purpose. Wow. Everything else just kind of happened.
Yet no discount for free advertisement from Sonny Pooni.
Yeah, no.
That was a great idea, though.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
good idea.
yeah. Because I remember watching that, and I was just like, "Wow, this is cool." And between you and Ken and Julian Gill, you guys pretty much cemented me getting it. I had kicked it around, and my 50th birthday was coming up, and my wife was talking with BC about what to do for my 50th birthday. They were gonna try to get the band Harpo that we've had on our show to play a show, but that kind of didn't work out logistically for somewhere for them to play. So then BC said, well, how about the Vault? Because he's been talking about that a lot. And, and then she said, well, here's what I want you to do the Vault. So I was like, all right. So you guys pretty much cemented me doing that just from your guys' experiences doing it. And let me tell you, I am so glad that I did. I'm like, actually, even when we go Sunday, today's Wednesday, and it's like
we're still a little stoked up.
Yeah,
That's how cool it was.
Yeah, it's just like unbelievable. It was great. I mean, you pay for it, and they send you the emails. And Sonny, I contacted Sonny because I booked it, and I wasn't hearing anything. I was like, they sent me the email. Of course they took my money right away, but I got an email. I'm sure it's just the stock email that once you pay for it, you get in the thing. And I was waiting to hear because we didn't know exactly where this was going to be until like exactly what Sonny said. It was the Tuesday before that it was going to be at the Trocadero in Philadelphia, which ironically or not was where we saw Gene play live in June down there. There were a couple rumors going on that it was going to take place there, but and that's actually where it was. But I have to say I was very torn as to who to take with me. Everyone sitting at this table here, Dylan and BC and Rob and BB, I was just like, and I asked my wife, and even I'm like, I felt so bad that I couldn't take everybody with me. I was just like so torn, and asked Dylan, and I was getting to a point where I was just going to flip a fucking coin to see who was going to come with me, or have them do odds and evens or something like that.
Well, you did like the Joker in The Dark Knight, and you broke the pool cue, and then you threw it in the middle of us. And we're like, oh no.
Whoever walked out alive got to go. Oh no. Yeah. So.
What was the deciding factor, if I could ask? What was the
I don't know. I
what
think
was the straw there?
He was listening to Gene Simmons doing "When You Wish Upon a Star," and the epiphany came to him.
It brought him back
Blue
to Olive
Fairy.
Street in
did.
1970.
See, that's because we
it did.
were,
I think
we
it
were
actually
Kiss buddies since we were 12 years old, 11 years old.
Yeah.
So we go way back.
Yeah.
We've been on
and
cruises
I think
together.
that was the deciding factor.
So
that
it was
I
just,
was
we
like,
have such a history together, and with Kiss,
right.
That is just brings us back to
Right,
the
and
beginning.
I think that was pretty much, and I do have to say, we went out. I don't know. There's probably 20 of us that went out for my birthday. We went to a casino, and that's where I told Rob that
I almost fell on the
that
ground.
he won.
I was freaked right out because I'm like, I hope it's me. I hope it's me. I hope it's me. I hope it's me.
It's
I
like the
thought
best
about this
band
for a
talk.
week. It was crazy because I'm
Will
like,
you
oh
be
my
my
God.
vault partner?
If I can meet Gene Simmons, that would, because you pass in front of him on the Kiss cruise. It's not really meeting him. It's not seeing him. I went to Ace Frehley's birthday party in Jersey like years ago. He had like a birthday party, whatever, at Fairleigh Dickinson University, and it was like so many people, and he showed up with Eric Singer with a birthday cake and surprised Ace. And I don't even think Ace knew. Nobody knew. All of a sudden, security just surrounded somebody. I see a guy walking through. I'm going in for the fist pump. I didn't even get the fist pump because I got pushed backwards. So I was like, for me, maybe 6 feet away from Gene. That was the really closest I ever came, other than the cruise. But the cruise, you cruise so fast in front of them. You get a quick fist pump and you're like, hey, and that's it, and then you're done.
And you're wondering if you had your eyes open or not.
So when he said, Rob, I'm taking my Kiss buddy. I was like, oh my God.
I seriously
You
thought he
gotta
was
be
going to
kidding
cry.
me. I thought I was going to. Because,
If he had one more Jack and Coke in him.
yeah, Kiss has been my band since I was 10 years old. 1976, it was just like nonstop. I mean, they're on my wall. They're my Batman and Superman. Like, so to get picked to meet him, it was like overwhelming. I'm like,
And what's even cooler, when I saw your pictures on Facebook of all the shit you actually had.
yeah,
Like the pinball card, like
Yeah.
that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And to finish that
Yeah.
picture disc
Well,
from
I thought about.
we'll get into the
Oh, okay.
what we're gonna
All right.
what we're gonna.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
yeah.
Sonny and Ken, what was your guys' reaction of meeting? Had you met Gene before, or had any kind of interaction with any of the guys in KISS?
I think the first time I kind of met Gene, it was very quickly, and it was at the Alive 3 meet and greet that they had in San Francisco, and we were, shuffled through there like a herd of cattle.
Yeah.
It was just, real quick, hello, hi, through next, went through the 4 members in like probably less than a minute. I mean, between all 4 members, probably 25, or whatever, 15 seconds each member. I mean, that's how fast it was. So that wasn't a true meeting. Otherwise, no, I had no other meet and greet. I was waiting for maybe the next time, hopefully KISS comes into Northern California, that I would, splurge on the meet and greet. But the Gene Simmons thing was kind of a no-brainer for me because he's always been my favorite since 77. So
That's awesome.
it was always been my favorite. So I was a no-brainer, and meeting him, I wasn't, I thought I was going to be nervous, but I really wasn't that nervous. Maybe I was a tiny bit, but a lot less than I thought I'd be. I was pretty calm. I wasn't like sweating, waiting at the door when I was going to be next or whatever. It was just like, I was just ready for it, and it was cool. Everything I'd hoped for. So.
Yeah, for me, I've done a bunch of meet and greets with other bands, but I was always worried about doing a KISS one or meeting any of the KISS members because, they kind of say, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was always worried. I'm like, oh my God. Because my best friend and I remember went to go see Ace in 90, and Ace was so drunk. And my best friend has never seen Ace again because he was like totally turned off after that. And I didn't want something to happen to where I would turn off. My brother had bought some meet and greets for 2012. He was living in Calgary, Canada at the time. And I flew up there to do the meet and greet. But 3 days before the show was supposed to happen, the stadium flooded. Wow. So they canceled the show. So that would have been the only other shot I would ever had. And I've never met any KISS member except for I met 3 or 4 that one night.
Sonny, your brother went with you, right?
Yes.
And Ken, who went with you?
Me, my fiance,
Okay.
went with me, and she was cool about it. She's not a big KISS fan. I mean, she thinks they're okay, and she likes some of the songs because I've kind of bombarded her
Right.
with my music.
Through osmosis, she's gotten some of it.
Sometimes.
Yeah. She used to watch the Family Jewels. She liked that, so it kind of worked out.
Whatever it takes.
Yep. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sonny. Go ahead.
So we had decided initially that we were going to wait later in the day. And, they had food and drink and all that, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But I didn't eat anything because I was worried that I'd end up throwing up on Gene's shoes. I didn't know kind of where my nervousness was going to be. And, a lot of people don't know what I do for a living, but at times I'm talking in front of 3,000 people, and I've been doing that most of my life. But for some reason, this one guy was really making me nervous. And I remember when they called our name, because we got bumped up on the list, because we purposely went to customer service, said, all right, you know what, we do want to go in a little bit earlier, because I didn't want to go in after Aces showed up. When they called our name or said something like, all right, you're on deck, oh my God, my nervousness hit a new level. So my guess is that 2 minutes before meeting him and the 2 minutes after meeting him and the 5 or 6 minutes in there, that 8 to 10 minutes, I was probably giggly schoolgirl the entire time saying stupid shit. I have no idea.
You're not alone.
Right? I have no idea. And I had, the bumper I wanted him to do, and I'd already typed it up on my phone because I know I was going to be like, badia, 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 badia. I didn't know what I would say. Right? So totally took me back to when I'm 14 years old, seeing Heaven's on Fire for the first time.
Yeah.
kind of felt like that. My brother, cool as a cucumber, that asshole. He had no problem at all.
Don't you hate that?
I hate that shit.
Yeah. Neither one of us were, and I'll just tell you real quick. It was
overwhelming.
Because we got there and we got in line. We were literally the last people in line. We get into Philadelphia and we didn't realize it was Chinese New Year, so they had the street blocked off 3 blocks away from the Trocadero. So we're like, fuck. So now we have all our shit that we're gonna get signed to carry. I have a box of a picture that BB wanted me to get signed, and then we parked the car and we're thinking, holy shit, we're gonna have to carry this vault 3 fucking blocks through Philadelphia, through Chinatown at night.
And he bitched about your big box the whole way down.
I can
It
imagine.
was hard to carry. It was hard to carry.
Because
But
it was an
what I don't do
awkward
for my
size.
friends.
But I figured you could put all your shit in it.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. No.
Do you think they're smart enough to figure that out,
No.
BB?
Hey, listen, we were lucky we got there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get there, we're in line, and we were talking with everybody in line and stuff like that. And actually, they said the doors were supposed to open at 3 o'clock. It was maybe not even 10 after 5
Yeah,
after
it was-
10
it
after
was
3 by the
crazy,
time
yeah.
we walked through the door. I put down to get my stuff, my shirt, and my pre-pack and everything at will call. But the only thing they had was the VIP laminate, the luggage tag, the metal luggage tag, and that was about it. So they're gonna mail me the rest of my stuff. But we went in, and like I said before, we were at the Trocadero to see Gene in June, and we're going up. But I'm like, the only thing I really remember being the same was the big ass flight of steps we had to go up.
Yeah.
And it was in this small room, but. When you guys went, you guys was sold out though, right? You guys had 100 vault or 50 vault buyers at your event, right?
Yeah.
They had only sold 40 for our event, but we were the last ones. We ended up being second to last by the time it was done, but we were number 27.
Yeah.
So like not even 30 people did 30. They didn't do 30 vaults out of that. I know they sold them, but only not even 30 people.
But there was a snowstorm the day before.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that had anything to do with. I mean,
it could have, because we had one of those shitty
we
little
had 4 to
quick
5
storms.
inches at my house,
Yeah.
and we're almost 3 hours from Philadelphia, so maybe that dampened some people from getting down there. I'm
could
sure
have
they're
been.
going to get their
It could have
vault.
been.
So
You
what
know?
you mean each experience is only 50?
Yeah. They only sell
that's the
50,
max.
so it's
That's-
not like
I was gonna ask
totally
you.
jammed.
Yeah.
So there's 100 people, and
people.
actually I looked at our
Which
picture.
is nice.
Yeah,
You don't.
yeah.
He's not overselling things.
yeah.
Well, not like you're in there.
It's more intimate. Yeah.
Yeah. And we got up there and they had the food was a little lacking, which I don't care. I wasn't there for the food. They had beer and soda and wine for.
Well,
for
outside
everyone.
in line though, you were chatting with Keith a little bit.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah. Keith Valcourt came, made sure everybody was okay in line and everything.
Yeah, and you already talked to him. You met him on the cruise. You interviewed him.
Yeah, I did an interview for the podcast on
So
the cruise.
you brought that back up. So that was good. So he was he was talking to us for quite a while outside,
Yeah.
in and out. You know what I mean? So that was good that we had a little rapport with him.
Yeah.
Inside and outside, we were chatting with
So
him.
did anybody in line did anybody know, like in front or back of you guys knew who he was? Or no?
We did because we
Or
met him
right.
on the cruise.
Right, but
Yeah.
then nobody else in line said,
I don't know. I don't.
I don't know, because
really
there were a
know.
couple people there that were on
We
the
were
cruise.
last in line.
We were literally,
I mean-
So it's not like we were in the middle of the
Right.
thing and having a
Right,
conversation, and a lot of people were joining in. Yeah, so it was it was less than 80 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were people that were in line since like 9 in the morning, and we just waltzed up at 2:45.
Yeah, but why would
Like,
they get in line?
I
that
don't
early?
understand, like, for this kind of thing, why you would get in line that early. Like, it's not like you're trying to get first to the barrier
You know what?
or anything
Keith
like that.
didn't know either because he said that to us. He goes, "I don't know why people were here at 9
It's,
o'clock
it's
in the
like, oh, if I
morning.
get in
We're
earlier, I
opening
might
the
be able to
doors at
meet
3.
Gene. Like, you're meeting
Yeah,
him already.
everybody's getting in there.
There's not
He
1,000
said that to
people
us.
there.
He goes, "I don't know why there was a couple people here at 9 a.m. It didn't make any difference. They were
I
all
don't
getting
understand.
in."
I don't understand.
He said the same thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to meet him.
You guys, when you guys had your vault experience, were they playing songs from the vault when Gene was doing the meet and greet?
Yeah, well, out in the studio area, they had the big loud speakers right in front of that little stage, and they were blasting pretty loud. His vault stuff, must have been on shuffle or whatever, but it was going the whole time basically. When you got into the control room, the door was closed, so you didn't have a lot of that loud blaring, so it wasn't. I can't even remember hearing the music in the background being inside the control room. So it was pretty quiet in there, which was cool. I could hear hear Gene talk, and he could hear me.
Yeah, that was one of the things with ours, because we were upstairs. Gene did the little acoustic thing in the Q&A, which was really cool. And did you guys? I Facebooked that live. I don't know if you guys had seen it or seen anyone else's stuff, and about what he said and everything. Because this weekend they came out with the end of the road trademark. I'm sure you guys are aware of that.
Yep.
What's your guys' thoughts on that? I don't know if you heard Gene's response to that. Was the very first question that someone asked.
So anyway, first of all, I saw the video that you put up there. I would say half of what you saw on the acoustic thing, about half of it was the same as what we saw, and about half of it was different. The end of the road thing, dude, everybody's kind of tripping about this. It's one copyright, and when I looked up copyright law, the copyright lasts forever.
Yeah.
So who knows what the hell that thing is?
That could be for 5 years from now.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it could be 70 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not putting any stock into that until somebody says it's
people
our
are wigging out over it and everything, and it's just like it's crazy. What do you think, Ken?
You always start jumping to conclusions about it. That okay, they're planning the end, and maybe they're going to tour world tour starting in 2019 or something. But they could be holding that for something else. It might be. This is why I'd hope it would be. It would be like an album and a tour. The album could be called End of the Road, and then do a tour on that. But who knows? We'll just have to wait. They may not use it ever. Probably not.
It may have just been a just in case thing.
Right before someone else does it.
And I think Gene was definitely prepared for that question, because he was like immediately, I wasn't aware of that. My lawyers told me it must be something that Paul did or something he said, and which was I thought it was kind of a I'm ready for this question and here's what I'm going to say kind of thing. And I don't know if you guys, I don't even know why I'm saying this. I'm sure you guys saw the thing about the song "It's My Life" that Paul tweeted after Gene's thing in Boston, and like Paul was kind of poo-pooing, I think, as he's been known to do. And do you guys think he's feeling left out, or just Gene's in the on the spotlight all the time, and Paul just wants a little bit for himself now? What do you guys think?
Maybe a little bit. To be honest, I think Paul probably thought that Gene Simmons' vault thing was probably a big joke. Even my fiance said, "Hey, why all these other guys are showing up from the band? Why isn't Paul? I mean, he was in the area or whatever." And I said, "Well, he might have been in Japan for his other thing." But just to come out afterwards, after it's been out there for so long, it's been written in text that in past Kiss books where Gene has said that Paul wrote the chorus, and then Gene added to it, or wrote the verses, that sort of thing, and finished it up. To now just say and this happens right the day after that Gene performs it live, and it's going over pretty big, and so it's Paul like, "Oh, I wrote everything basically."
Yeah.
The whole thing. So it's kind of it just makes sense to me, and Gene says he's been trying to get it on a Kiss album since 1981. That's I don't know. I have a hard time with him coming out like that and doing it. It does say Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley on the writing credits, but Gene could turn around, and which he's done in his book. He said, well, I wrote the lick for Black Diamond, and Paul Stanley took that. I wrote the lick for Take Me. I wrote the lick for Come On and Love Me. And maybe Paul doesn't like seeing that stuff, so he's kind of firing back. I don't know.
That could very well be. Absolutely. Sonny, what's your take?
I don't know why Paul cares, to be honest with you. So it could have been just out of frustration that people are in his ear about, hey, this Gene thing is really kind of taken off and people really love this. It's my life song. And he just, kind of blew up and said, wait a second, I wrote that damn song, right? So that's possible. I guess we'll know when Eddie Van Halen comes out of the woodwork and says, I wrote God Love for Sale. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And it was funny, too, because he did mention on the Q&A when he was on the stage that one of the guys asked, he said, the anniversary of Kiss Alive 2 is coming up and Alive again and everything. And, why don't you guys do like a super box set and release the shows that like Alive were taken from, like the Davenport show and the Wildwood, New Jersey show, and to just, put those shows out there how they are. Kind of like how Yes did when they put out those live albums like from Toronto and Montreal and all those. He pretty much said that Paul doesn't want to do any of that shit. And he came right out and said it right on the stage the other day, and I don't know why.
So who's running the show like we think.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I just
double-edged sword.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was cool though. It's funny because Rob and I were talking about it that when we went down there to see Gene at the Trocadero in June, like we really don't remember that little stage that Gene did this show on. I mean, the place was, absolutely packed, and people were hanging from the friggin' rafters and everything, and but it just totally didn't seem like the place we were in, and it was small. I wish it was a little better lighted.
Yeah, it was very dark.
I'm sure you could see the video that we took. We were hanging towards the back because all the people that were there at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm sure they were the people that were like jammed up at the front of the stage and everything. But I mean, we're only probably 50 feet away from them. Maybe it's not like we were like in the back of the theater.
It was
or anything.
dark. It wasn't well lit at all.
I just wish it was a little more well lighted. And I know when was it your guys' show where he had problems with the sound guy? Was that your show?
That's every show.
Okay.
I think that's a shtick now.
True. He was bitching at the dude at ours because the tuning on the guitar.
The guitar was
it was like
E,
tuned to
and he
E.
wanted it D or whatever.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the same thing there. It was the same thing in Miami. I think it was the same thing in Boston.
So
it's like, okay, if you're going to mess up that many times, just fire that dude. Start somebody different.
Yeah, but do you think that's like a little shtick that he's got going on?
It's exactly what it is. It's exactly.
Oh, I see.
Well, it takes up a little time too.
Yeah.
Right.
And then if his guitar playing is off,
he can blame the guy.
I see. Yeah.
He definitely sounded raspy on your video. He was a little raspy that night.
It seemed like he was. But I think this is the only one, isn't it, that he did 2 days in a row?
Plus, he played Boston. He played his live show
he really
Friday night.
So he really had things 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because he did the show with Gary Sharon, and then he did the Vault Saturday. Then he did the Vault Sunday in Philly, and they had the snow, and they had a hard time getting there. And
see, there's another Gene and Van Halen connection.
Oh, Gary Sharon. Yeah. That's a long stretch there.
There was talks that Gene was going to be the singer of Van Halen, but then
he couldn't.
He was going to be the fourth.
He couldn't do the splits off the drum riser.
I think it's just because Gary Sharon is from
about
Boston. Maybe that's why that worked out.
Yeah. And I forget when he did your little Q&A in the for everybody, was there wasn't anything like new that came out or anything, was there? Just like talking about the songs and everything? We
didn't, from what I remember, we didn't even have a Q&A because there wasn't time with Ace showing up early, right. and they had him come out, and Ace and him were playing for a while, and then he went. After that was done, after a half hour or however long it was, he went back in to do the rest of the people, and then came back out again with Ace and himself for a little while. And then Ace and Bruce and Eric came and joined them. So there wasn't really any question and answer. Am I right, Sonny?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I mean, think about it. If Steve and Rob, if at your show, if there was Ace, Eric, and Bruce there, and they're doing separate things, and every once in a while there's stuff going on, all of a sudden an hour and a half's gone.
True.
Yeah.
Right, and that's exactly what happened at ours,
like
and it wasn't really scheduled that well.
Yeah. Because it was like 4 questions, I think, that they put out there.
Yeah.
And
Other than Keith asking a couple like same old questions.
Because I think Gene got off on a couple tangents, and Keith kind of was reeling him back in.
Yeah. But it was a lot of the same stuff that a lot of Beatles stuff he talked about, and chords and different guitar changes and stuff like that he talked about. And then there was 4 questions from the audience that weren't really, I mean, there was a couple, I think out of the 4, maybe 2 or 3 of the questions were all right, but they weren't really diving deep to stuff that we had.
Did they ask you guys like to write down a question or?
No, they had a microphone that
Does
So it
anybody
was just
want to
like,
ask?
ooh,
It was
like you had to do like
we're gonna
the-
take 1 or 2 questions.
we would have had to
Who's
plow
got
through the
one?
whole crowd to get up there.
That could have been stage 2.
Or maybe at the next
Maybe
one,
that's
someone should ask,
with ground
okay,
ball questions.
who really wrote "It's My Life"?
Yeah.
They don't want it. They don't want those questions.
I know they don't.
And it's funny, and it's because it's like on the Kiss cruises, and Rob and I have talked about this many times, that they usually put out there maybe a month or 2 before the cruise sets sails. When they do the Q&A on stage, you can submit your question, and then it's I'm sure they vet them and they pick the the slowest ground balls that you could possibly get.
How long does it take to put your makeup on?
Yeah, like bullshit like that. And I, although I do feel bad for the couple people that got screwed out of their questions by George Lopez this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, and I don't know if you guys have seen the video of that, but I saw what video was out there, and it does no justice to how it was actually being there.
It was worse being there.
It was
me.
crazy.
It went on a lot longer.
Yeah, because
than what's out there.
I don't know. I don't think I've told this on the show before. About an hour and a half before that Q&A, my wife, Chris Granson, that was on the show with us, and I were down in one of the bars and talking to the guitar player for the Led Zeppelin tribute band. And George Lopez was standing there, and then he started talking with us, and he was lit then, like an hour and a half before the show. And then Rob was up on the deck saving our spots for the Q&A, and I walked up and I saw the 5 chairs. I said, "Please don't tell me that 5th chair is for George Lopez." And I'm like,
and I
they're
said,
like,
"Why? What do you mean?"
And I'm like, "Dude, he was fucking hammered an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
And if that 5th chair is for him, this is going to be a goddamn train wreck."
And it was a train wreck.
Oh my god, it was.
Like the videos online doesn't do it justice.
No, I mean there was literally
so
people
beyond.
like wanted his ass.
It went crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. But like I was saying, that getting back to the questions, all the questions were just grounders, just easy ones. Although I will say on Kiss Cruise 6, they asked, I think it was a general question to the whole band, like, why don't you guys do deeper tracks, blah, blah, blah. And Eric Singer just pointed to Paul, and like the whole ship booed Paul Stanley.
Because he said,
if they were popular we would be doing them. And like the whole fucking ship booed Paul Stanley.
but on the cruise, everybody knows the
You're
songs.
paying for that shit.
We don't want the
vocal
run of the
range,
mill. We want
cough.
the deep cuts on the cruise.
I don't want to hear Shout It Out Loud and Rock and Roll Night on the Kiss Cruise.
Yeah, or lick it up again. Like,
With the
nauseam.
won't get fooled again.
but I think they're
It's
starting.
never-
I think they're starting to mix it up a little bit.
They're getting there.
Although I do like the won't get fooled again.
All right, let's get back to the vault.
Yeah, okay.
Good
Sorry.
sidetrack.
Well,
let's talk about the
we're talking about the questions. Yeah, so it was cool. You guys said I remember Sonny, you saying the food was excellent that they had there.
different caterer.
Yeah, definitely a different caterer. Because actually, they walked by our line with the little slider hamburgers, and we were standing outside.
We ordered
Egg
after
roll.
White Castle.
And the egg rolls. I burped yesterday, and I was still tasting the fucking thing.
Mini egg rolls. Yeah.
It was like, ooh, they were rough.
Free beer and wine.
Yeah.
And some kind of
Yeah,
food.
and we had a couple
Yeah.
beers, and then like I'm like, ooh, even though it was Bud Light, which is horrible, they were going out pretty good, and I'm like, I gotta stop drinking. I'm gonna be fucking. I don't want to be even buzzed when I go to meet Gene.
I had 3 drinks, and I'm like, no, I want to know exactly what I'm saying. I don't want to have.
And there wasn't anybody really
drinking,
drinking or nothing like that. Yeah, I think everybody just wanted to meet Gene and be crazy.
Yep.
Ken, how long into it did it take for you to meet Gene? Were you there one of the early guys, late guys, middle?
Yeah, well, we got there about, I want to say we got there about 10:30 in the morning because it was supposed to lit in or start about 11:30. So when we got there, there was just the first guy in line. I can't remember his name, but he's from this area also. And then Julian was right second, and then I followed right third. So I was third in line. So I got in there, I guess, third when going in to meet Gene. I was the third one in.
Okay. So they gave you your numbers as you were in line.
Well, no. The thing is, they didn't give us numbers. They just gave us, we signed on a sheet, and they gave us the wristbands. And I was like, shoot, there's not even numbers. But the guy was saying, well, we're going to let in the same, based on the list of when you signed in. And the thing is what was ridiculous is they had this one guy with that full list of all the people that were in there running around trying to find people who were on the list rather than like calling out their name or whatever. I'm like they should have done numbers. I think I said that on our podcast. I said, you know what? If you're listening out there, you should do numbers, give numbers as they're going in.
Well, they did listen to you because that's exactly what they did.
They learned a lot of lessons, I think, from the first one. Of course, because it's you don't know what the heck's going to happen for sure. But they learned lessons, and that was one of them. And they obviously did the number thing.
Yeah, they did because that's exactly what they did, and it was. It was run, and I'll get into like what was in my vault and everything a little bit, but I was able to talk to Keith, and it was run very smooth. He would come out every now and then and make sure everybody's okay. Do you need anything else to eat? Do you need anything else to drink? Sorry it's taken so long, and I was like, as I said why? I said I will wait. I don't want anybody rushing me, so I'm certainly not going to rush anybody. And we're there because Rob and I we weren't sure how late it was going to go, so we didn't know if we were going to stay the night in Philadelphia. Because if we got out of there at 11 o'clock at night, we weren't going to drive home then. So we actually ended up driving home because there wasn't a full boat there. In which, for the size of the place, Rob, would you agree that if they sold 50, or even if all the 40 showed up, it would have been really, really crowded in there?
Yeah, because we were number 27 times 2, but we got out of there. I think it was 5 after 9 by the time we got out of there, and we had like a 2.5 hour drive to 3 hours depending on traffic, and we made good time. But if we packed a bag just in case we were going to be there late. And if we indulged in alcohol, which I didn't want to do because I was like, we're meeting Gene. I want to know what I'm saying. I want to, be able to talk to him.
With us being last, it was over when, there was like one vault behind us.
Yeah.
By the time it was said and done.
But they came late.
And they came late. But like by the time we were done, we were walking out the door, they were getting done also.
Yeah, they
so
were
it was over.
Stuff up. Yeah,
it was over.
It was over.
So it wasn't. Because we noticed they had everybody gather upstairs, and then you came back down the stairs, and then Gene did the meet and greet in the lobby, where it was totally nothing there when we went in. But and why I asked you guys before actually about if they were playing the vault music, well, you were all waiting and bullshitting and eating and drinking or whatever that. And I remembered you guys said that they were playing songs from the vault during this period, and I actually said to Rob, I said what the fuck? I said they were not playing any vault music at all up in the lounge
And
where we were all kind of hanging out.
Steve actually asked one of the guys, he called him over and said, aren't you supposed to be playing some of Gene Simmons' Vault going on right now up here? Which we were upstairs, different part of the building. And they were playing Motley Crue. They were playing Aerosmith. There was
Kiss songs.
A couple Kiss songs, but there was nothing of the Vault at all.
No.
So, I mean, he didn't actually work for Gene, these guys, but they were all super friendly.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm not really sure what we're supposed to be playing. But then once we got downstairs for the actual meeting.
Well, not even downstairs. When we were, we went, they had like a holding area.
Before
you were in the bar
downstairs.
and you were just kind of hanging there and listening to the, not Gene Vault music. And
then you could
and
hear
they would call
Vault.
3 numbers at a time. And what they did was they took you out to the balcony that overlooks the stage and they kind of held you there, but you could hear the Vault music. They were playing it downstairs where the meet and greet was.
Almost
and,
human.
And that was one of my only complaints. Like when we actually met Gene, the music was so fucking loud down there.
Yeah.
It was difficult to hear.
It was hard to hear Gene talking to us.
Yeah.
Because it was like behind us in our ear, and Gene's kind of talking not quietly, but it was hard to hear what he was saying with the music blaring at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was a little tough to hear. I mean, we could hear him, but we
Yeah.
really, because I wanted to tell them, turn it down so I could hear this guy.
I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was really, it was.
Which it should have been how your guys were, where the music
heard
was
it the whole
playing,
time.
and then you went into the soundboard room and it was quiet because Gene was talking, but all we heard was the Vault playing in the background. It was hard to listen to what Gene was actually saying.
We're like pretty much like halfway through here, and at this time I'm just gonna break it up a little bit, and we're gonna go around the horn here, and just give everybody a little a break here, and we'll go around the table and see what everybody's currently listening to. And Sonny, start us off, my friend.
All right, so my buddy Stephen Michael, he got a free. He's been like listening to Apple Music and streaming that kind of stuff. I don't really do that. I buy all the music really, but he tells me about this new band called Gene the Werewolf. So come to find out, Gene the Werewolf is not a new band. It's been around since 2007, and I'm like, well, that name sounds weird, so let me go try it. Dude, these guys rock. I am totally hooked on their second album, which came out in 2011. It's called Wicked Love. And Gene the Werewolf, he's the vocalist. There's a guy named Drew Donegan who's a guitarist, Tim Schultz, bass, Nick Rizak on drums, Aaron Meddy on keys. And these guys are from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's why I was asking you if you had heard of them.
No, I never heard of them.
Yeah.
Do they dress like werewolves? Do you know?
No, not at all. This is normal, straight-ahead rock. And now I'm going to put all these bands in a blender so you can get an idea of what they sound like.
Okay.
Put in a blender AC/DC, Whitesnake, Winger, Guns N' Roses, Rolling Stones, the Thompson Twins, and Roxette. And you got Gene the Werewolf.
Thompson Twins.
Okay.
Yeah,
It is really
That's quite a
good,
list.
poppy, hard rock. It's really weird.
Really? We will.
Yeah.
I will definitely post something of Gene the It's Gene the Werewolf, right?
Gene the Werewolf.
Okay. Ken, I'm sorry you can't pick Gene the Werewolf. So,
Yeah.
what do you got going, Ken?
I picked Paul the Mummy.
Okay.
So I'm picking, huh?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, besides the Vault, which is in heavy rotation still right now, for me, I'm still absorbing it. But I've listened to it a few times through. That's a lot of songs, of course. But besides that, with me restocking my vinyl collection that I've pretty much got rid of back in around 90 or so, or around there.
Yeah, me too.
I got a promotional copy of Bad Company, Running with the Pack. I got that in the mail the other day. And I tried to get the promotional copies because they were the first pressed, and
right.
It's supposed to sound better. But that is the one I guess I'm listening to other than the Vault right now.
Okay. Very cool. Dylan.
I'm listening to a band that I first heard this band when they were touring with Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie. They're called the Murder Dolls. I've been listening to their most recent album since they're broken up. It's called Women and Children Last. They have Wednesday 13 on guitar, and they have Joey Jordison, who was Slipknot's drummer for a while, in the band as well. But he's like playing guitar, but he's also drumming in the studio album. So that's really cool. And they're like kind of like a heavier, like almost like a horror punk, I would call them. They're really, really cool. A band that I really, really got into, really dug them. So they're no longer together, but they still have some pretty good.
We got
stuff.
to see them live too, right?
Yeah, Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper. They played that show, so it was really good, and they're a good band.
Yeah, I'm listening to the new Saxon Thunderbolt again. Cranking Saxon, you can't go around with them.
You cannot. That's an excellent album.
And we'll be seeing them pretty soon.
Yeah, and actually, a couple weeks we'll be seeing them. Rob, you got anything for us, my friend?
Me, actually, I've been dabbling in the Gene Simmons asshole solo project that he did.
Have you been digging down there?
Not digging.
Wow.
I was
Asshole.
preparing myself.
6 inches deep right now?
I was preparing myself for the Gene Simmons experience, so I've been dabbling in his
catalog
song.
Don't say asshole.
No, it's a good album.
It's a good asshole. I mean album.
It's and I think we talked about this a couple days ago in Black Tongue. I was like, I don't know if I like that one. That's not actually the one I was thinking about. It was one after that one. Black Tongue's not as bad as I thought, but there's a lot of good songs on it. You just gotta really listen to it. Like Firestarter BC, easy, buddy. Easy.
We're all in tears here.
Firestarter is awesome. There's a lot of really good songs on there. Asshole's a great song. And then I think one of my favorites on there, Sonny or Ken, maybe if you can agree, you're familiar with this, 1,000 Dreams. That's just like a really good song. It's a good ballad. It's a very good song. So that's where I'm at. As soon as these assholes stop laughing.
It's all in
So
the phrase.
Dylan, you either gotta edit. Dylan, you gotta edit either I've been digging deep in
Yeah, that was my bad.
getting the show, or at the end of the show.
Choice.
He'll leave that in purposely.
I will put it at the beginning and the end too.
All right. Wasn't thinking there.
How the hell do I follow that now?
I don't know.
Well, I've been digging deep into shit. No, never mind.
All right.
Okay, gonna take a drink.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Lately, I've been listening to John Corabi's new live album.
Oh, is that out? I didn't.
It is out. You know, we at the Potter Than Hell, we are big fans of John Corabi. You know, Crew album from Scream, Union. A lot of really good. It's a live album. It's actually called Live in Nashville.
One Night in Nashville.
1994. Like really iconic songs. Uncle Jack, Hooligan's Holiday. Like really, really, really great songs. And as I look, it says that I'm wondering if this is actually his son playing the drums.
It is.
Is that his son? Ian.
Yes, it's his son.
Or Ian Corabi.
Right.
That's really cool. And just another golden star to this album. He's playing with his kid. Really great album. New music. People go out there and check out some new music.
Excellent. Before I get into mine, I'll go. We had Dylan with the Murder Dolls. We had BC with Saxon's new Thunderbolt. Rob was digging in Gene's asshole.
That's hysterical.
John Corabi live for BB. And mine, and I'm going to tout these guys again. Actually, Ken was talking about revitalizing his vinyl collection. And I actually just picked up Black Country Communion 4 on vinyl, which is like an amazing. It's great. I just love it. But like Ken, right now I'm delving into the vault I went back and forth with Sonny a little bit today, and I got as far as disc 8, but I really haven't listened to I've listened to them, but because when you get the vault, there's a book that comes with it that have the discs in it, and it explains something about every song, like who played on it and when the period that it was written and everything. What's your like I said, you guys have delved into it. Feelings on the, or even some key things you guys think about the music on there. And I'll just throw a couple out there because I'm not totally familiar with everything on there. But there is, and for anybody that actually is out there thinking about getting this and they're going to be maybe dissuaded that, oh, it's just going to be a bunch of demos and it's going to sound like crap and blah, blah, blah. There's some stuff, quality sounding stuff on there. And there's a lot of finished songs on there. Like, it's not just like a minute and a half of this song and 2 minutes of this song. There's a couple of those, but there's really, there's songs. I'm just looking at the first disc. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes. They're all good, and they're pretty much, a lot of them are finished songs. They're not a lot of, just snippets is what I'll say. Thoughts, fellas?
It's a lot of good stuff. For instance, I mean, on the first disc, I think I really like "Hey You." I don't know what it is. That's one of the ones I like on the first disc. And there's another one that sounds like it has a Deep Purple riff. Another song called "Turn to Stone," or Rainbow type riff. Blackmore type riff. There's a lot of stuff that sounds pretty darn finished. But it's amazing to me that you hear certain parts of songs turn up in one song, and then a verse or a chorus from another song appears as part of another song that he had used before, and it's totally different, or somewhat the same. It's interesting to see the evolution of the writing or of the song as he builds it. He keeps trying, like. He's like, it's going to work at one point. It's going to keep working. He keeps trying, and he does it in another way, adds something else, and where it gets to pretty much a finished product, and where he finally figured out, how the song should be. There's a lot of stuff like that that's really, really cool to hear, and a lot of songs that I'm surprised that maybe didn't make it into maybe some 80s Kiss albums.
Right, and there's a lot of cross-pollination, like you said. It kind of seems there's a little part from this song and a little part from that song. And I think a song, just from what I listened to really quick, is you hear, whether it acoustic or electric, you hear only you parts in a couple different songs, a couple of different arrangements. And I think that was something that he really wanted to be a song, because of the different ways that it was put out there. I thought that was one that really stuck out as just listening. And because actually when I listened to it, I listened to the first disc and a half, I think, and read the stuff in the books about them, and then I just kind of wanted to just soak them in without reading everything there. Sonny, what's your thoughts?
So I'll tell you about disc 1 first. Like, I love "Are You Ready?" "Turn to Stone," "Juliet," "Hand of Fate." I think those are all key. "I Wait." Those are probably, in my opinion, the best songs on disc 1. I would tell people that if you're interested in the music, if you like, Gene is not my favorite member. I like about 70% of everything that's in this vault, and that's pretty good out of 166 songs. If you love Carnival of Souls, you'll like 80%. If you love Gene's solo album, you'll love 90%. If you're a Beatles fan, you'll love 100% of the vault.
Wow.
That's kind of how I look at it, because I'm not a huge Beatles, Carnival of Souls, or Gene Simmons solo fan.
Well, he talked a lot about the Beatles at our questions and answers.
Yeah.
He was very influenced by the Beatles.
And the one thing that stuck out, talking about the songs, what Gene said during our little acoustic thing that we got was about the way that Paul McCartney and John Lennon wrote songs. They were so different. He said, John Lennon could do this. I forget exactly what the thing was, but Paul McCartney can't. And I think, and it worked for the Beatles, and I think that's one of the main things that worked for Kiss. Like, Gene can write a certain way, and Paul could write a certain way, and it just worked. And I know Mark Anthony Kaye's not going to want to hear this, but thank God for Bob Ezrin, because I would have, you want to jump off a building when you hear the Paul version of God of Thunder, but when Bob Ezrin said, slow it down, let Gene sing it, like there's your one of his signature songs. Yeah. But that was like one of the rare things where Paul wrote a song that had turned into a Gene song. But I think it works for them. They're different writing styles, and it just comes together so good.
Kind of like It's My Life. Paul wrote it, but Gene sang it and
made
it his own.
Yeah.
Round two.
So let me tell you my thoughts on this It's My Life thing, right? So, and I know that the folks that we got together today have experienced this. I have been in a room where there's 3 or 4 people trying to write a song together, right? And then the song gets done. If you go back and think about it 15 years later, you don't have a clue who the hell wrote a line, wrote the melody. There's so much shit going on and shit talking and back and forth, and it's a piece of this, a piece of that. How the hell are you supposed to remember it 30 years later?
And just think of how much you've done since then.
Yeah.
Right.
To even just remember back that is excellent point.
Well, you know what? Let's step in real quick.
Sure.
Paul Stanley's going to have to put out his own vault with his original demo in order to prove what he really wrote.
It's going to be 166 versions of It's My Life.
It's got to be like the Paul Stanley Love Crate instead of the vault or something.
I knew you'd like Mac.
Yeah, and actually, disc one that kind of stood out for me was I like the title because I like the story. Something Wicked This Way Comes. I like the time change in that. There's a cool time change towards the end of the song in that I really thought was very cool. And like I said, I'm not that deep into it, but there's a lot of stuff. Not as deep as Rob was.
All right. Let it go.
And I know, and I think on a couple different podcasts I heard that a lot of people don't like the Gene song Within. I've always liked that song.
I like that.
I love that song. Love it.
And I even like he kind of does a scat vocals on that a little bit on disc 2. And I think it's really cool. And they have the reverse riff or whatever, the riff played backwards. And actually, they have In Your Face in there with the Ace version, which is really cool.
Nice. Now what's that?
Nice.
Yeah, it was In Your Face, you guys. That was a song for Psycho Circus, correct?
Yeah, it was on the 3D video. If you got the 3D video thing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have that still in the plastic, I think.
See, there's another guy with plastic shit.
Now, my question is, how is the song Granny Takes a Trip? Because I see the title of that, and I'm like...
I haven't gotten that far yet.
This is, like, the weirdest... the story behind it is pretty interesting. Apparently, it was, like, a store in New York City that, like, had all these awesome clothing. And, like, the fact that you would name a song that, it's kind of weird. So how is that song, guys?
What disc is that on?
I think it's the last disc, 11, I think.
It's on one of the later discs, definitely. Hold on, let me get the book.
I'll look. I'll go ahead. You guys talk. Go ahead. I got it.
I think, that one's a hard one to remember. That may tell you something.
So it was that good. Yeah. It's on disc 10.
Oh, okay. So
10 on 10.
Are they?
Yeah.
I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Can
I ask you a question about the vault? Because I have no idea. Are they from disc 1 is the early disc?
They're not chronological. No.
There's no order.
They're not chronological.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Granny Takes a Trip was an apparel store in New York City. It's interesting because in the liner notes he uses the word androgyny, and I'm like, I don't even know what the hell that means. I had to look it up.
Hey, there's your word of the day for Steven next week.
It's basically Paul Stanley. That's
yeah, basically, yeah.
Sonny, Steven needs to have that for his word of the day.
Yeah, that's right. The song I thought was kind of bad, to be honest with you. The song wasn't that great, but that's just my opinion.
I agree. That's not one of the better songs.
There's a couple stinkers on there, but
most of it's good.
166 songs, you're bound to get they're not going to all be great, and there's stuff recorded in the late 60s on a little portable tape recorder.
I wish that the song "My Mother's the Most Beautiful Woman on the Planet" made it in.
That's for the Vault 2.
There may be. He said it may be a Vault 2.
Oh my Jesus! Are you gonna buy another? Now, are you guys? Would you guys buy another one?
I would do it in a heartbeat.
If it was the experience or without the experience?
I would do it either way, first of all, and I would redo it on the first vault.
Oh.
Like, it was that good. See, for me, because I did reviews on the 11 discs,
Right.
my experience lasted like 3.5 weeks. I was all in on this thing for 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't listen to any of that because I wanted to go in fresh.
I know. I got to listen to all that too. I didn't want to know that before.
Listen,
this.
I read them, Sonny, and those are great reviews. I have to say I was following them every time you posted it. I was really excited to see the next incarnation.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for that. Thank you for
And
that.
you
Actually, I enjoy.
Steve wanted to check them out, but he was waiting till he had his experience to listen to your experience.
Because Rob and I talked about that on the way
Yeah.
down. I said, Sonny did a series on each
And
disc.
I saw them, but I didn't want to
Yeah.
listen because I wanted to wait to do that first and then review the music.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll read them, Sonny, and see if I agree.
I was gonna say on Sonny's review, I read those too, and it was really great reading all that stuff. But I can see, like Sonny said, that he's not into the more Beatlesque kind of stuff. And I was like surprised, and then when I hear it, I liked it more than he did because I like that kind of stuff. So it's you're gonna get a little bit of everything on this whole package of types of music, and you're gonna definitely find something that you like for sure.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm trying to. There's one song that I really liked, and I thought, and it actually wasn't even like a really rocking song. I can't.
Is it
find
My
the
Uncle's a
freaking thing.
Raft?
It is not that. But I just want to touch on real quick. I don't want to get totally into the songs, but the version of "Got Love for Sale" on that is everything and more than I thought it would be. These guys know me. That is
You
probably
love that song.
my ultimate favorite.
I didn't know it was on there.
"Got Love for Sale," and that's one of the ones with the Van Halen
brothers.
And I texted BB the other day, and I'm like, the version of that and the solo, and I don't know how Gene says that Ace plays that solo note for note.
No, that was
No.
that's
That was
15, 16.
16.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because there's no fucking way. I'm like, no, that's
Oh yeah,
okay.
no, I said the same thing because when I heard "Got Love for Sale," I'm like, oh my God, that's got Eddie Van Halen written all over it.
Oh,
I just
absolutely.
got goosebumps telling you that, by the way.
See,
And I'm like, if he would have told Ace to play that note for note, Ace would have just threw his Les Paul away and went home. Like, there's no way.
Oh, absolutely.
Is it that good? Because I haven't heard it.
It is that good. I will,
It is that good.
I will play it for you before we leave here tonight.
Really?
It's like I was like, holy fuck.
And I'm a big Van Halen fan too.
Yeah.
So
And
Van
actually,
Halen.
the other song I was trying to think of is from disc 1 is "Legends Never Die."
Oh yeah.
I think that is and it's not a rocking song, and I'm not, Sonny, I'm not a ballad guy, and I don't think it's really a ballad, but it's more of a mid-tempo song, but
Right.
it's really, really good. I don't know how that was not on an album somewhere.
Well, it was on Wendy O. Williams' album. The new,
Was it?
Wow,
Okay.
or
See, I'm
whatever
not
album.
familiar with that album at all.
oh,
It is a great
It's a good
song.
album. And that's a good song on there.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna have to check that
I
out.
definitely have to check that out.
Because that's Gene
And-
told us. Now
Yeah,
they tell us.
and,
so.
and the thing, one of the main things, and actually I had said to Gene, one of the things I could actually fucking remember, was that I'm so glad to have this vault and listen to this music because I'm not a bootleg guy. I know that a lot of guys are. I know Julian is, Ken or Sonny. I don't know about you guys, and some of these songs you've probably heard some versions of, and even the "Legends Never Die" it was on the Wendy O. Williams album that I had no idea about. But like I'm like totally going into this like a babe in the woods, totally fresh. Like a couple things that I've heard before. Like Mad Dog, I've heard that was on the box set, and a couple different ones. But like overall, probably like 95% of the shit I've never heard any of it in this form. Some of the songs that are actually songs, you could definitely tell. Like Sonny said, here's one from Carnival of Souls. I mean, the titles are the same, but just the feel of them you could tell. But I'm just totally blown away, and I just am not familiar with like 90% of this stuff in here, and that's what I like about it. And I'm just, like I said, I'm not a bootleg guy, and I don't know a lot of this stuff, and it's blown me away.
Yeah, I'm not really a bootleg guy either. I think I have some of it, a few here and there. But yeah, I'm not like maybe Julian, who's a connoisseur.
Oh God, he's like the king of the bootleg songs.
He has everything. Has heard everything. But I know he was very surprised that even though he had all those bootlegs, all the versions that are on the 11 discs are different takes than what he had even in his collection.
Yeah, because I remember him saying that when he did the show with I couldn't even tell you the guy's name that did the one in Miami, and they were going back and forth about it, and Julian was like, we've had that song out before, but they're different versions of it. Yeah, which is great, and I'm just like totally. I think it's just gonna be months until like I'm just like have this thing totally soaked in. But so far, it's blown me away. And I, like I said, I told Sonny and I said to you guys before, I'm only 8 discs in, and it's.
But you just skimmed
amazing.
them. You just skimmed each disc.
I'm listening to them, but I'm not. I haven't even, like I said, like disc 1 and half of disc 2. I've read the stuff that went along with them, but I'm just gonna, maybe. I think maybe what I'm gonna do is take a long journey with this vault and maybe take a disc a week. And just totally get immersed in it with reading this stuff, and it's great. It's just amazing. I just wanted to touch briefly on the music, and we won't be playing any snippets of any of these songs in the edit of this, but there will be Gene songs playing, intermittently as we're going along here. But I want to get into now when Rob and I went down and we met Gene. It was by the time it was our turn, there was us and Dwayne and his girlfriend that we met, and the 2 other people that were actually behind us.
We were the last in line.
Yeah, they didn't interact with us at all. They were kind of a little older couple.
They came late. A little bit.
So they take us out into this holding area, and we're now we can hear the vault music because it's fucking blaring from downstairs, and it's we hear very first thing we come out, we hear a version of Almost Human. It's like wow, and it has such a cool different sound to it.
Cool vibe, yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, Almost Human, and I'm like, finally we're hearing something from the vault, and so then Dwayne and his girlfriend were ahead of us. They went down the steps and they went in. So they probably 5 to 10 minutes go by, so they're like motioning us down. Okay, you guys are up next.
You're on deck.
You walk down the steps, and you're on the side of the lobby, but you could see the people ahead of you doing their vault experience. So we could see Dwayne and his girlfriend, and it was like, wow. So now my heart's going about 200 beats per minute.
Yes.
And I totally fucking panicked.
Yes, he did.
I said to Rob, I'm like, what the fuck did we were going to talk about?
Yes.
Like, I just, like...
And I was like, Steve.
Totally drew a blank.
Steve,
I'm like,
calm down.
I'm like,
calm down, Steve.
Totally wigged out.
Calm down.
And it's funny because, like, you ask these guys here, I've been going and burning buildings for, like, 30 years, and I don't even get that nervous at a goddamn when someone's house is burning.
But
I was like,
Gene
holy
Simmons.
fuck.
It's different.
And we actually, Rob and I were at a bar bullshitting about this before we came in, and Rob, you put it perfectly.
Yeah.
Who were we beating?
We were beating like Batman, Superman, one of our iconic heroes that we've looked up to since we were 10, 11 years old. So to go up and face to face meeting that person, it was a little overwhelming. It was really crazy. So we're sitting there, we're getting ready. The guy comes in and says he's going to sign 5 things for you. Get out what you got. If they're albums, take them out of the sleeves. Get everything prepared. You go in, have everything ready for him, and then, you'll be fine. Just relax. So I look at Steve, and he's like, not relaxed.
I'm like,
and I was a little, I was a little not relaxed too, but I looked at him, and he was less relaxed.
I was like,
and he's
holy
like,
fuck.
what was the question? I was supposed to ask the question of the question of the question? And I was like, Steve, Just calm down. We're
I know,
we're on deck. We're going in.
I totally lost it. I totally lost it. And like that, and that's actually a feeling that I'm not used to.
Right, because
I don't panic. I was
because since we were kids, we're used to him hanging on our wall on a poster, and he was like so much larger than life that we had like it was surreal when we walked in. It was just different. It's hard to explain.
It was the poster walking off of your wall.
Yes, absolutely. And we got in there, and it was just.
And I think it actually made it even a little bit worse that you could see the people ahead of you doing theirs.
Yeah.
I think that made it like. Even
I was
like,
standing up. I'm like, Steve, why are you sitting down? Get up. You can see them. Come on,
I didn't have any
doing?
legs underneath me.
He's trying to get all his stuff ready. I got pictures. I got posters. I got albums. I got to get shit signed. What do you mean? I'm like getting my shit together.
And I've talked about this to these guys. These guys are, and it's a hard thing to explain. I've had a question I've always wanted to ask Gene or Paul. And I'm like, if I do anything, I'm only asking him this, and I totally forgot.
But when we walked up, you started talking to him. I kind of leaned back. The photographer's taking pictures, and you know what I mean. And you're talking to him. I can't really hear you. They say move in, and then you said, "Can you do a bumper for my podcast?" And he's like, "Absolutely."
Yeah, but I do have to say, Gene was so humble, so appreciative.
Absolutely.
Like I got like 5 feet away and I didn't even get to say anything, and he's thanking us.
Yeah. Yep.
He's
Thank you guys for
coming. I appreciate it. Sorry it took so long for you guys to get down here. I really appreciate. Without you guys, it would. I would be nothing. And it was just and that was kind of off-putting because I was like, wow, like
yeah.
But it was if it wasn't genuine, he deserves like a table full of Academy Awards.
Yeah, and then we had our stuff, and he said, "Set that down. Let me show you a little bit.
Show you the vault, and we'll talk and everything.
See what this is all about."
And I told him, I said, Gene, I said, I first of all, I said, I want to thank you, and he's like, well, like for what? And I said, for one, I said for the thousands of hours of entertainment that you've provided me over the years. And I said, I specifically want to thank you for playing. And I said, and by the way, so we saw you here in this venue in June. I said, and you guys played Got Love for Sale. I said, and that is like my ultimate favorite Kiss song. And I said, I was like almost in tears when you guys played that song. And he's like, oh my God, we love doing that. And he said, we just did She's So European and I just in Boston the other night and everything. And
but let me show you more about this vault here. He segued into the vault.
Oh, absolutely.
Let me show you the door, how you open it.
And Sonny, I didn't even really have to. Even Sonny told me. Sonny texted me, "Hey, make sure you open your vault with Gene there, so he could sign anything that's in there."
Right.
So Gene's like, "Here, let's see what's in here." So he's like, boom, he's opening it up. Well, he takes the book out first, and he, of course, it's wrapped in plastic, so that didn't get open then. So that gets set on the top, and then
this is how the light works.
He's like, it took us like 6 months to figure this out or something like that. He told me. I'm like, okay. And
she goes to the salesman mode.
Yeah.
Here's the secret door.
Even though they already bought it, right?
I already bought this fucking thing.
Yeah, we saw it on the cruise. We know how it works. Here's the here's the secret panel.
Secret panel. So he pops it open. And then he goes, okay, we'll reach in there, see what's in there. So I pull out and go grab that for me, don't we? Actually, we're here recording tonight. I actually brought the vault with me so these guys could check it out. And so I reach in and I pull out an all access pass from 2011.
Yeah, because they're going to be able to see it on the podcast, the audio podcast.
Well, because I want it in my hand. I want to see it. So there's a from the Lost Cities Tours in 2011, an all access pass. And so he signs that. So he goes, okay, we'll reach in there again. So I reach in there again. I pull out a 2000 Kiss Icons keychain, which was cool. Because actually, I think I'm actually going to, that's coming out of plastic too. And then he's like, okay, reach in there. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything else in there. So he goes, no, reach way back in. So I reach back in and I pull out a Kiss black folder. And he's like, oh, this is you know what we would give out for the press kit,
Press
and then he
kit,
opens it up,
something up.
and I think he actually thought there was going to be something inside
And he goes, mint condition press kit from, and he opened it up,
and there's nothing in there.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, okay, well, reach in there again. So I reach in there again, and I'm like, there's nothing else in there. He goes, no, reach way to the back. I'm like,
Let me
no,
see
I'm
what's in
reaching all the way to the back. He goes, let me look. So I step aside, and Gene reaches back, and he goes, So he calls Keith over. He says, Keith, come here. He says, this young man, yeah, okay. He says, this young man didn't get everything he was supposed to get. He says, so hook him up with more stuff. So Keith Valcourt comes over. He says, Steve, here's my card. He says, email me. He says, tell me that you were in Philadelphia. Give me your address. That's important. Give me your address. He said, and he said, we'll send you more stuff. So what more stuff is going to be, I don't know. And
It's like Christmas.
so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So yesterday I sent Keith an email. First of all, I thanked him and his staff for doing such a wonderful job with the vault experience, and that I thanked him once again because he had let me interview him on the Kiss Cruise last year, and I thanked him again for that. And I told him, I said I didn't receive all the stuff that was supposed to be in the vaults, and I didn't receive my pre-pack that I was supposed to get. And then so I get an email back from him today. I never put my address in the email, so
Nice.
send him my address again. So we'll definitely get back to you on what actually else I did receive from those guys. And Rob, tell these guys what you got signed.
Well, from what we understood going in, you could bring 2 items depending on how much time, up to 4 items. So as we came down the steps and we were waiting by the couches, they came over to us and they said, well, 5 things he's signing for you. He's going to sign 5 things. If you have albums, take them out of the jackets. If you have pictures, get them out of the cardboard, whatever. Have everything ready to go. Bring them over. Get everything out now. So we went over. We set our things. As soon as we get over there, Gene said, "Oh, set your things down now. Let me talk about the vault first. Set down what you got," because he just wanted to talk to us of what he was showing us first, and then we'll get to the autographs later. So he did the autograph, he did the vault. He took some pictures with us, and then he said to Steve, "What do you want me to sign on the vault?"
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And this is totally was Dylan's idea. Like I said, we were kicking around before what we were going to put on there, and Dylan's. No one came up with anything better. And if you guys have seen that, I'll post it again. I had Gene sign on there. To Steve, how does it feel to be a real asshole, Gene Simmons? And it was so funny because when I told him that, he wrote to Steve, and when I told him that, he stopped and he looks up. And he starts laughing. So I know that no one else has asked him to sign that. So if anybody out there is listening to this and you're going to get the Gene Simmons vault and you get that put on there, you're fucking copying off of me. Which is copying off of Dylan. But it was funny because he starts to sign it and then he starts to sing it.
And then we all
the 3 of us are singing
with him.
Asshole. Right there at the Gene Simmons ball thing.
Security was laughing.
Yeah.
The camera guy was left that was taking the pictures. Everybody started laughing because we're all singing about.
Probably such. It was like it was actually the most cool moment of the whole meet and greet with Gene.
Very funny.
It was like
very
we're
funny.
all singing the song.
And Gene laughing and smiling about it because it was very original.
Yeah, because I'm sure you've all seen videos of Gene where he like throws his head back and laughs, and it was exactly that moment. And to
it was surreal.
Have caused that, it was like that was definitely the right decision to put on there. And thank you, Dylan. Again, it was a great idea.
Listen, when I have good ideas, they're good ideas. Because
you almost
that shows I do listen to my son occasionally.
And you almost went with a War Machine kind of lyric quote or something like that, didn't you? Almost did a War Machine thing?
Yeah, there was some kind of line.
Yeah,
but even at this time, I don't even remember what the hell that was.
Perfect.
To Steve, I'd better watch out because you're a war machine.
Yeah.
But he actually started singing it. It was so great.
It was really cool.
So cool.
And then I asked him to do a bumper for the podcast, which you guys listening out there have already heard coming into here. and he was totally gracious about that. He did it, and it was so cool to hear him like say your name.
Yeah,
And he actually told him, he said, "Well, play it back. If it's not good enough, I'll do it over." And Steve was like, "Well, I need headphones to do it, and I'm sure it came out fine."
And it
But
came out great.
He was willing to do it again if
Yeah.
it wasn't loud enough or anything.
And my only regret was I actually wrote it down on a piece of paper. I should have had him sign that paper.
Yeah, but you didn't think about it.
I didn't. I was just so... It was crazy.
Yeah. So then he signed all of your stuff. He signed BB's painting, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'll post a picture of everything that we got signed. Rob, what did you get signed?
Well, then I had a couple things because we both had 5 items. So I brought in, I had a Calling Dr. Love 45, which is the first song I ever heard from Kiss in my life. My sister had it on a 45, and I had the 45, and I brought it with me. I had it framed previously, but I took it out of the frame, and I'm like, "Gene, can you sign this? This is the first song I ever heard in 1976, and he wrote "To Rob" on it, so I was excited about that. And then a friend of mine had a Crazy Nights picture disc with Eric Carr's signature on there. Lisa Murphy had it for me, and I worked with her, and she was like, "This couldn't go to a better Kiss fan than you. I want you to have this." So I was so excited that she gave it to me. So a couple years ago, me and Steve met Bruce and Eric, so I had Bruce sign it as well. So I'm like, what perfect thing to have another signature is the Crazy Nights picture disc. So I brought that, and then Gene signed it. So we kind of looked at it, didn't say nothing about it, but I'm like, okay, well, he sees Eric's name, he sees everything. So then I have the Kiss pinball machine from '79. So I'm thinking, do I bring the back glass? If that gets broke, I would be devastated. So there's there's 2 little cards in the front of it. It's like, it says
Bally,
three plays for a quarter. They're like little postcard things. I slid the glass out. I popped the card out. I had him sign that. He kind of looked at that, didn't say nothing about it, but signed that. So I was excited about that. And then I brought the Kiss Cruise 6 album that they gave us with Rock and Roll Night, something like that. He signed the jacket of that right underneath his face. So that was awesome. So I got all my stuff signed. Very excited. Put everything back. Oh, and then I have a Creatures of the Night Glow in the Dark album that I had in a frame and everything like that. So he signed that in black. So that's gonna look freaking awesome. So I had all 5 things that I wanted signed, all signed. It was surreal. So then, all right. So then the photographer is like, "Okay, move over. We want to get your pictures. Take them with Gene." So Steve goes on the one side. I go on this side. We're just kind of hanging out, and we just do the picture. And then he yells at us like, "Come on, no, let's, look
give us
lively.
the
Give us the horns. Give us something." So then we throw the pic, the "I love you," and he's throwing the horns up, and I'm like, okay, that's better, So then all of a sudden, we're breaking up, we're slowly parting, and I was standing on the right of Gene, coming around him a little bit, and I said quietly to myself, "Oh my God, my heart's beating 100 miles an hour." And I could have swore I said it to myself. Gene looks at me and he goes, "Come here, bring it in. And I look at him and he just, all of a sudden, he's around me, hugging me. And I was like, "Oh my God, is this happening? What is going on
Did
right
I just
now?"
die?
And he goes, "Listen, I just want to tell you that I would be nothing without you right now." He said, "If it wasn't for you and people like you, I'd be nothing. You guys made everything that I have for me real." And I was like...
And Rob passes out.
No, I didn't pass out. But I could feel
He
myself
throws a
shaking.
bungee.
I could feel myself shaking. And I'm like, is this happening right now? And he whispered in my ear, and it felt like it went on forever. And he was just... And he could feel me
And I'm
trembling.
watching going, I want a hug from Gene.
And you're like... What's he saying?
Yeah.
What's he saying? I'm
Hug
like,
me, hug
and
me.
I'm telling
me,
you, he
little
said,
man love.
"I appreciate everything you've done for me, and I would have nothing if it wasn't for you and people like you." And I went, "Thank you so much, Gene. Oh my God, thank you so much." and then we fist pumped again, and then we were over and
we
putting
were
our
out,
stuff.
yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it was the greatest experience in my life to have my Superman, my Batman, hug me and say thank you to me.
See,
Like-
Ace won't even get off the chair when he signs something for you.
I know, and I love Ace. I love Ace. But Gene's was like, Gene is, oh my God.
Yeah.
Gene's my new favorite now.
Yeah.
Ace, you're my favorite, but Gene's
I told
right
my wife,
there.
I said, I think I'm bumping Paul Stanley out of the top.
I know,
top
he's
two.
so real and so humble and so like, he's so real. I swear to God, if any of you guys can meet him.
Yep.
Because he so appreciates you and what you've done for him. And he knows it's because of us. And he's sincere.
All right.
That's my shtick.
I'm just gonna go real quick. The stuff that I got signed, I had a nice canvas thing signed for BB, which came out and actually the thing he signed for BB had the best signature that he signed all night.
Yeah, really nice. Well, ours he was
Bastard.
holding up in his hand.
Yeah.
I wish he laid them on the table. But
BB's he laid down. I had the actually the date that we went was the 18th of February, and that was the anniversary of the release of the first Kiss album. And so I had Gene sign that, and he dated it 2/18/74. And I had him sign the same album that Rob had him sign. It was Creatures of the Night and I Love It Loud from Kiss Cruise 6 on that disc. And I had BB got me for my birthday a Gene picture disc. So, Ken, I got the same thing signed that you got signed.
That's cool.
And he did learn a lesson, Ken, about signing stuff with different pens. Because actually when he was going to sign BB's, he had the black marker in his hand. He was going to sign on the makeup. And he said, you want me to sign on the makeup? I said, no. I said, sign on the side. And so he changed pens and he signed it with the silver marker. So that came out really good.
Came out nice.
Yeah. And it was just it was phenomenal. And I do have to say that I said to Gene, one thing that I did remember to say in my gaga moment was I said, hey, I said today your debut album came out. I said,
oh yeah.
Do you remember what you were doing on that day? He said, I absolutely do.
I'm good with dates, you know me.
Yeah, yeah. He said they were on a flight coming back to New York because he said that the album was released in New York on that day. He said they flew American Airlines. Yeah. And I was actually going to say, well, do you remember what flight number it was? But I didn't. I was going to be a smart ass. But he said they were on the flight because it was going to be released in L.A. like 2 days later. And it was released in New York and the East Coast on the 21st. He said so they made sure they wanted to be back in New York when the album got released.
And then he said, and back then we were making $75 a week, and we thought that was fantastic.
Yeah,
I was like, well, yes, you did.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was cool.
Just an amazing thing. And they call it the Gene Simmons Vault Experience for a reason. It was just an experience. Ken and Sonny, what did you guys? I know Ken, you had the picture disc signed. What else did you guys have signed from Gene?
Well, besides the picture disc of his solo album, I had the regular solo album, the album cover. He signed that. I had 2 Kiss Army 8x10 photos from 2 different Kiss Army, packet years of him. And then his book, Kiss and Makeup, had him sign that. And then they had those extra, that Gene Simmons vault picture where he's, advertising when he said, they had extra ones at the beginning when we were walking in, and I grabbed that. I actually grabbed the one that was on the table there that was already signed, so I had him sign that since I grabbed another one that had nothing on it. So I had him sign it, so I have 2 of those. So that's what I had signed.
Cool. Sonny?
Yeah, we had, so Danny and I had 7 items all together, and the reason we brought 7 items, we were actually only going to bring 4 and just kind of stick to the rules, because, unlike Steve, I like to follow the rules.
You mean Steve and Michael, right?
No, I mean you. Like, Valcourt asked you to do one thing, send your address. You can't even do that right.
I know. I'm a rule breaker. I am.
So we brought 7 things because I don't really know like what's Kiss licensed, what's not. I just bought stuff over the years, so if there was something he wasn't going to sign because maybe it wasn't Kiss licensed, I didn't want to have any problems. So we brought, but he signed all 7 things. So we brought the Lynn Goldsmith book, the Gene Solo picture disc, Creatures picture disc. I had the Revenge album cover, so I thought those would be fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then I had a Killer's German print album cover with the Nazi S's.
Right.
Or not the Nazi S's, but the other S's.
The Nazi
right?
S's, yeah.
Right, and I didn't know if that was licensed by Kiss. I had a unplugged album cover that's the yellow marble edition, so you can get like yellow vinyl.
Right.
And that was licensed. And I had a Psycho Circus green vinyl that I didn't know if he would sign, but he signed everything.
Did he sign the vinyl or did he sign the cover of that?
I had him sign the cover on everything.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of the vault, guys, what did you guys get in your vaults? What were your special Gene items that you got? Well, you know what, Sonny, you go first since Ken waited a little longer for his.
Yeah. So mine, I got a backstage pass from the 2014 tour. I got a VH1 Rock Honors invitation that was signed by him already. And then there was a sticker. There was a sticker in like a little baggie, right? So I pulled the sticker out, and it's a sticker from the 70s. There's no doubt about that. It's like probably 77, 78, somewhere in there from the Love Gun era. But there was like a ladybug in there that was dead. So I'm like, oh, okay, this been laying around a while. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that was it. And Danny goes, oh, there's something else in there. And I pull it out, and it's Kiss condoms.
That's awesome. That's great.
That's funny.
Ken, when you finally got yours, what'd you have in there?
Well, as the saying goes, good things come to those who wait. So what I got, it was a pleasant surprise. I mean, I was so surprised. I didn't think that I'd get this. But I got, I guess it's either a third or a fourth of cutout from his shell, the boot cover. The demon boot. So it's a costume piece. So it's kind of one side of the face, with the teeth and all that. It's not the back heel part or anything like that. It's just the front half of the face. So with the eye and the teeth. So it's it's very cool. I mean, I think I was chatting with Andrew Scambatti, and he thinks it's from Psycho Circus. That's what he thinks it's from. So, but I'll go with what he says for now because I don't know for sure. But it's just a big surprise. And so that's the only thing in there. But I can't complain, about that. It's such a cool item to get. And actually, when they were showing stuff that might be in vaults, and I remember one of the videos, Gene's showing the boot shell,
right?
And I thought, oh, that'd be great, to have something like that. And it's funny that
so that's what you got.
I got it. I was like, man, I just lucked out. So I was totally stoked.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
cool.
And I gotta say, Ken, you have been a topic of conversation between my wife and myself for the last month because I've been following. Obviously, we're friends on Facebook, but I've been following the Ken has not received his vault yet saga, and like every day, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, fucking Ken didn't get his vault yet. She's like, who's Ken? I'm like, she's like, no, I don't know who that is. So I'm like. So it was like a daily thing. I'm like, Ken didn't get his vault yet. And then actually at one point she's like, did Ken get his vault yet? And I'm like, no, he did not. and then one day it was like maybe like 3 or 4 days went by when I didn't bring it up, and she only said that one time. And I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm like, Ken got his vault. She's like, oh, like thank God, like, not for you, just so I would shut the fuck up about it. And I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, you had to see what the fuck he got. And she's like, what? Like, I mean, she doesn't give a shit at all. And I'm like, he got like the bottom of the one of the destroyer boots, and I showed her. She goes, oh my God! She's like, that is so cool. And like, I'm like ecstatic for you, but even my wife is happy for you that you got that.
Well, that's great.
So
now you don't have to bother her anymore.
Don't worry, I got a lot of stuff to bother her about other than that.
Yeah.
Ken, what is that boot actually made of? Is it like a rubber? Because we're looking at it on Facebook now, and I'm kind of. What is it actually made of?
Plastic.
It's kind of. This feels like almost like a hard.
So it's
a hard plastic,
like a hard plastic
or some kind of fiber or fiberglass kind of thing.
Fiberglass?
So it's made out of some kind of mold and it's just painted. And
I say it's got to be something
Mold?
kind of sturdy if it's going,
They're fiberglass.
But it's like a white mold underneath. But it was sprayed kind of a little bit sprayed black kind of inside. But what's funny about it is that there's the front part of it where if you were going to kick, the nose part is kind of double layered right there. There's a double layer right in the middle on the front. And maybe that's to reinforce it.
Right, they probably made that a little more sturdy for when he gets down and that part is actually on the floor. Like when he kneels down on the stage.
If he kneels or he kicks the front end of it somehow. But
So do you think that hole between the teeth would drill into an actual?
Oh yeah, there's a hole. I think that was screwed right into the boot. I'm guessing that it was just screwed into.
Probably screwed right into the heel.
You never saw
the front of it.
Yeah, it's screwed into the front heel.
Just to stabilize it.
Yeah. And it's funny too because over all the years as you're seeing these boots as a kid, you're thinking like, man, that's got to just be crazy just to like put your foot in that whole big ass boot. But it was just like the bottom, and then the other part just
shell that goes around
came on. Another thing that another one of your myth busted. Mythbusters ought to do a Kiss episode. That would be
the
cool.
Kiss boots. And
imagine that. That'd be crazy. Like there's so much. Seriously, think of how many myths are out there about Kiss.
Yeah, but none that you could test scientifically.
His boots we could test.
Shut up, Dylan.
That's one.
Shut up.
That's gonna make an hour-long episode.
I know. See, we're you always got.
I'm looking forward to that book that Ross Radley's putting out later this year, which has everything, and I think it goes over all the costumes and stuff. I'm hoping it has some more detail on each boot and costume piece. I think he's doing that in the book.
That'll be cool. Ken and Sonny, I know Sonny's answer, but no Kiss Cruise for you guys?
No, I don't think I'm doing it. I don't know. I'd like to, but then again, it's just, I don't know. I could still change my mind, but it may be booked up hopefully before I even decide one way or the other.
Yeah, mine's all a timing thing. Just because of the job, it's at the wrong time of the year.
Yeah. You guys convinced me of the vault. Let me convince you of the Kiss Cruise. You will be just as happy that you did the Kiss Cruise as you did the Gene Simmons vault experience.
Before we sign your things, let me show you the cruise ship.
Yeah. and I don't know if you guys if you paid attention to when Gene was doing his little acoustic Q&A when I was going Facebook Live with it, but he was up there actually selling the vault to us people that already purchased it.
GeneSimmons.com.
Yeah, because he knows there's people taking video, man. He's not making it.
Because I said to Rob, I said, we bought the vault. I said, but look at him, he's still selling it.
And that's what I said, too. Yep. All these people that are videotaping it are putting it on there so people can see it.
And like I got to say, you guys, Ken and Sonny and Julian, you guys are so Gene Simmons should actually give you guys even send you something extra with something signed or something, because you guys are the, I was thinking about it, but you guys are the ones that really clinched it for me to actually get the vault experience. And I got to tell you, anybody that's out there that if you're on the fence about it,
it's worth
do it. It is absolutely worth it. Yeah. And And one of the big parts about it for me that made it actually more joyful for me to do it was that I was able to take Rob with me, because it was like seeing my my children at Christmas when they got that fucking toy that
was
they've
me.
been waiting for.
You could have literally saw your child.
all year.
No, I
that
was
toy.
much better than what you would have been.
I love that you said that was the greatest experience of your life, and you have 2 kids.
I know it was. Well, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Once
It wasn't
again,
the greatest.
shut up, Dylan.
Yeah, shut up. Don't be a hater. It was fantastic.
But it was. That was actually, and I think Sonny, you took your brother, and Ken, you took your fiance, and I think that in that realm that it actually really added to my experience, seeing the joy of my friend that I took, and I was glad to take him, and I'm like.
And I
missed it up a little
appreciate
bit
it
here.
so much. And I thank you
it was
once
crazy.
again.
It was just
Me
it
and
was
Gene
such
were
a
we were in full bond motion.
They
we
were in man love.
He
we
was-
were
he was
man, we were
definitely
hugging it out. We were hugging it out. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the best nights of my life. I swear to God. It was fantastic. I was trembling because it was one of my heroes came to life in front of me. It was fantastic, and I thank you for taking me because
I was glad to take you, buddy.
fantastic. And I
just
thank
your
you.
reaction alone and all the other shit that I got was definitely worth it. And I was glad I was able to get BB's picture signed, even though I fucked with him a little bit.
Pretended it wasn't
I told him
signed.
that the Gene wasn't going to sign anything that big. And I kind of surprised him tonight that it was signed, so I was glad I was able to do that for him. And like I said, you guys out there, if anybody was on the fence, definitely do it. It is definitely worth it.
Go to it.
Yeah, we'll wrap up. We've been going for a little while here. We'll go around our table. Then Ken and Sonny, we'll go to you, and then I will wrap up. And Dylan,
I think it's cool that Gene's doing this. It's a really interesting experience. I'm glad that he's doing an experience of it, and he's not just putting out, like a thing of CDs, because it makes it really. It's almost like a thank you to the hardcore fans for being there for the whole time, and that's clearly the case since he thanked you guys so passionately. In the case of Rob with the hug, and it's cool.
I still want my hug.
It's cool that he's putting out all these songs that may or may not be on the cutting room floor for a reason, and kind of bearing. It's almost like a retrospective look back at his career. It seems like he's being reflective and things like that, and trying to sum up his career. And I think it's a really cool way to do it. And the vault is such a perfect thing to have for Gene Simmons to do, because he has the whole money thing going on, and that it's kind of a bank vault or a little safe. It's cool.
appropriate.
It's cool.
Yeah, Gene is always about making money and that. And after hearing the experience and how he really was real about it all, and being very
humble.
thankful,
He's
very
very
humble
humble.
about it.
Very
I mean, that's refreshing to me.
So BC's going to buy everybody vaults for New York City.
Come on, let's go.
No, I'll tell you what, my experience was fantastic. He lived up and beyond whatever I thought he was going to be like. He was way beyond better than what I thought he was going to be. He was very humble. He thanked us so much for giving him what he had. And it was overwhelming for me that my hero was thanking me for giving him what he had. So it was mind blowing for me, and it was one of the greatest things of my life, other than my children being born, of course.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks,
But
Dylan.
it was fantastic, and if anybody has the opportunity to do this, do it, because if Gene means that much to you, I didn't know he meant as much as he did to me. You see this persona of I'm a cocky multimillionaire. He's not like that at all. He's freaking totally genuine. He is the real deal. He really is.
Again, thank you. Thank you for busting my balls. Thank you for taking that little step that you said that he wouldn't sign it. And just amazing, because me growing up as a little kid, looking up to my cousin and seeing Gene on his walls, and now having a piece of something that he signed humbles me. So
History.
thank you. And Gene, holy cow, like, talk about being amazing. Putting out 166 songs that no one has ever heard before. And with the Van Halen brothers, I can't wait. This is probably the first episode I can't wait till we're over so we can hear that song, because I'm a big Van Halen fan.
Yeah.
But what a great thing that he did for real, like you said, real fans, Rob. Real fans know exactly what he's about, knows the lyrics to Asshole. Who outside of Kiss, who knows Gene put out an Asshole solo album?
It's a dream come true.
Exactly.
It really is.
So, props to him, props to coming out. It's just a great thing that he actually did a little thing for his fans.
That's awesome. Ken, what do you got for us, my friend?
I agree with all your guys' sentiments, and with Gene being, again, my favorite since the beginning. It's just extra special having the time, a little extra time, meeting him, talking to him, and then of course signing the stuff. But I was excited when a long time ago when he said he was going to do a box set of his music, that demos or whatever. Because me, it's all, the main thing was always about the music, and the rest is just the cherry on top or whatever you want to call it. He's just great. I mean, I know he's always a good guy at heart. I mean, sometimes he embarrasses me on some of the stuff he says out there. But in general, he always means well. He's definitely a great guy, a good guy, and he does appreciate his fans, and I'm glad he's gave us the opportunity to do this and get a piece of his music and even like I said, the costume piece was just a piece of something he wore, I'm guessing on stage many times, I'm guessing, which is just again blows my mind, but just a great experience, and it's an experience I'll never forget. I'll never forget it.
Excellent. And actually, Ken, give the Kiss FAQ a good plug before we get Sonny here.
Yeah, so our weekly podcast, Kiss FAQ podcast, which I'm part of with Julian Gill and the other guys, Lonnie and Mark usually also. We have a show tomorrow. Actually, it's vault related. It's going to be coming out, which is Julian and I going over the first 5 discs of the vault, and we kind of just pick our favorite 2 songs from each of those 5 discs, and our one kind of throwaway from each of those discs. Yeah, so it'll be a part. It's like a part. That's a part 1. We'll have another one later on. It'll be discs 6 through 11.
Awesome, Sonny.
Okay, so I'm an Ace guy.
Yes, me too.
I think Paul is the best vocalist overall the entire career. Let's not get into what he sounds like today.
No.
Overall entire career, Paul is the best vocalist in Kiss. So Gene ended up 3rd for me. That's just how it ended up as a Kiss fan as I was growing up. That being said, if you are a Kiss fan, you are going to be sorry that you missed out on this vault experience, because Gene does an absolutely incredible job with all of it. You're going to be sorry 10 years from now if you don't do this and you had an opportunity to do it. The price is what it is. I actually appreciated it because I knew that the 100 people that were in that room were there for a reason. They were diehard fans. They loved Kiss, and there was no questions. Not going to be any of this, hey, you stole $65 from me in 1995 and you owe me demos. Like, there's not going to be any of that because he priced that out of the market, right? So, yeah, I think people are going to be sorry if they miss out on this because it was an incredible experience.
It was, absolutely. Give your podcast a shot. Podcasts, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I co-host on Podcast Rock City, which is all Kiss podcasts, and it's going great. We sometimes have interviews and have guests on there. Sometimes we just do Kiss-related stuff. And then I am a co-host on Growing Up Rock podcast, which is it's been doing great. We just got over 30 episodes. We just did an interview with Jeff Scott Soto, one of my all-time heroes. And it's kind of cool to have a podcast that can talk all Kiss and a podcast that I can talk other rock too. So they're both come out weekly, and they're going well.
Great, and I want to say, Sonny, I was thinking about you when I saw that you had Jeff Scott Soto on your podcast, and does the restraining order that he has against you, you're still able to do a podcast with him?
Well, see, that's the podcast was in Atlanta and I was in Wisconsin,
okay.
so
I didn't know if communications
it's 2,000
counted or
miles,
not.
so it was close.
Oh, okay, because I know you had to be. I didn't get a chance to listen to it yet. I'm sure you composed yourself as a professional, but I saw that and I'm like, holy shit, Sonny was probably going insane when they were having Jeff Scott Soto on their podcast. And I love your guys' shows. The different views, and I'm glad, Sonny, that you get to come on to our show. And Ken, I appreciate you coming on with us. And Growing Up Rock is great. Stephen Michael, he's another awesome guy. And I just love that you guys love to bust my balls, because I get to get my ass busted by these guys here, and I also have guys over the airwaves busting my ass, which I absolutely love. And I appreciate you guys giving your time out of the middle of your week, because I know you guys, you're like all of us, you have jobs and other podcasts you're doing, and I want to thank you guys for coming on and spending time with us and sharing your experience with our listeners, and hopefully we can grow our podcasts together and get your guys listening to us guys listening to you. And I really appreciate it. And Sonny put it great. Years down the road, if you had an opportunity to do this and you didn't, you're going to be sorry that you did not.
Yes.
And it's named the Gene Simmons Vault Experience for a reason. You're not just paying for the music on it or the cool ass fucking vault that it comes in, that is built like amazingly well. It is the whole overall experience. Like I said, I was so glad that I was able to share it with Rob, my Kiss buddy for years, and just to see him enjoying it as I did. And awesome. I want to thank everybody out there for listening, and enjoy the show. If you get a chance, check out the Gene Vault Experience. It is definitely worth it. Ken and Sonny, I know Sonny, it's tougher for you, but Ken, dude, get on the Kiss Cruise.
Yes.
And
it's worth it.
I'll try.
Thanks everybody out there, and Ken, I will buy you 100 drinks on the cruise.
Yes.
And thanks everybody out there for listening, and we will see you next time, and there will be a next time. Rob, you got anything for us, my friend?
Me, actually, I've been dabbling in the Gene Simmons asshole solo project that he did.
Have you been digging down there?
Not digging.
Wow.
I was
digging the asshole.
preparing
About
myself.
6 inches deep right now, or what?
I was preparing myself for the Gene Simmons experience, so I've been dabbling in his
catalog
song.
Don't say asshole.
No, it's a good album.
It's a good asshole.